Resourceful Designer, episode 131, Features versus Benefits, Marketing Your Design Business.
Welcome to the Resourceful Designer Podcast, offering solutions to streamline your graphic and web design business so you can get back to designing. And now, your host. He was an Adobe certified expert. That was 6 or 7 versions ago. Mark DeCote.
Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate you joining me this week. Now, I have an interesting episode. In this one, I'm going to share a resource that gives you access to over 100 useful apps for your Mac. Sorry, Windows users. Then I'll discuss the difference between marketing using features versus benefits, before ending with a great question from Stian about managing clients' personal information. But before I get to that, I'd like to give you a little bit of update on what I've been up to. I've been working on a couple of websites for some clients. I got one of them that's just about ready to launch. I'm just doing some testing. It's an e-commerce site, so I want to make sure the payment funnel and all that is working properly. So that's the last stage I'm in before launching this site for the client. Got another one I'm working on. I've done a few podcast artworks lately for some new podcasters. And I just landed an election campaign. One of our local candidates contacted me to do their campaign material. And I love doing elections. I love election time of year because of this. Because you know everything is going to be very precise. I've already designed the lawn signs. They're out at the printer being done. And now I'm going to start working on a brochure and some postcards and some door hangers. And one of the good things about working with elections and with candidates is they usually know exactly what their marketing budget is for their campaign. So unlike a normal business that might come to you and say, well, how much does it cost for 10,000 flyers? When it's an election campaign, sometimes they'll come to you and they'll say, I have this amount of money. How many flyers can I get for that? And then it's up to you to work in some deals and see what you can do. So anyways, I like working on election campaigns because of that. Not to mention, I always like this because all the candidates are going to start handing out flyers and different things like that. Or just the signs that are out on people's lawns. And I love looking at the ones I designed and comparing them to the others and going, oh yeah, mine blew that one away, or mine is so much better than that one, or look how cheesy this flyer looks next to mine. So it's one of those little pat me on the back type things that I like my involvement in that. Whether or not the person wins, I hope in this case, this is for my local area. So this is actually somebody I would be voting for. And it just so happens that it is somebody that I would vote for. So sometimes it's a little bit harder if it's a candidate that you don't agree with, or it's not somebody you're going to vote for. I mean, you still do your best as a designer, but it's always fun when it is somebody you would be willing to vote for. So that's what I've been up to in these last couple of weeks. Now, I want to give you a little bit of information here, and this is kind of fun. Tiana, whose question I answered in the last episode of the podcast, reached out to me to let me know that she took my advice and designed her own t-shirt that says, hi, I'm a graphic designer, let's chat. And she sent me a photo. She did a great job on her t-shirt, sent me a photo of it. And she says that she attends a lot of car meets, car shows, like races and stuff like that. And she wore her shirt to one just the other day. And she said quite a few people actually approached her to ask her about her graphic design services and her business. And she thinks that she landed at least one big new client at this event. So congratulations, Tiana, on that. Just goes to show, I've mentioned before how this works and how I actually, when I first started my business, I wore a t-shirt like that as well, and how I got a lot of clients because of it. People see it, and if it's an inviting message, they'll come up to you and ask you about it, and you can get clients that way, because some people are in need of something, they just don't know who to turn to. So Tiana tried it out, and she said after wearing the shirt one time, it's already paying off. Now, if you want to test out this idea for yourself and you don't have the time or you don't have the resources to get a single shirt made, you can check out my link at resourcefuldesigner.com/t-shirt, where I have a couple available that are for sale through Amazon in the US, as well as through Redbubble worldwide if you're interested. And those messages are on both the front and the back of the t-shirt. And I just want to send a quick shout out. Thank you to Brody for notifying me of when I first put the t-shirt out. It just one of those things, you do it too quick. And I actually spelt design I'm a graphic designer. I spelled designer wrong. It's one of those things ever since I've been in this industry for 30 years now. And for some reason, I keep spelling designer wrong. It's just when I type, it's the I and the G always get reversed. So Skinger or whatever. That's what it ends up. And I actually did the t-shirt. I didn't proofread it properly, and I actually put it out there on Amazon and everything. But Brody sent me a message saying, did you know there's a spelling mistake? So I fixed that. So my t-shirts are okay now. If you had gone and seen them and saw the spelling mistake, it's been fixed. But thank you, Brody, for notifying me. Just goes to show that no matter how long you've been doing this, you can still make mistakes. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, I want to share a resource of the week with you. And this week's resource comes to me, it's something I just recently discovered. And the reason I discovered this is I just bought myself a new mouse for my computer. I love the Magic Mouse that comes with the Mac, but I do some gaming sometimes on the computer. And I just got a new Tomb Raider game. I say new, it's new to me. It came out a couple of years ago. And in it really works well if you have a 2-button mouse. And that's the one drawback on the Mac mouse. It does have left and right buttons, but you can't do both of them at the same time. You could do a left click or a right click. But in some cases for this game, you have to hold down the right button and press the left. So anyways, I ended up buying myself a mouse. I got it through Amazon, and it has some extra buttons on it. But those buttons don't really do anything on the Mac. I understand from what I read about the mouse, on a Windows computer, you can go in and it has some features that it can do, but on the Mac, it doesn't do anything. But then I heard about this tool called Better Touch Tool that will allow you to program those buttons on a mouse. Now, that's not the resource I want to share with you. But when I went looking for Better Touch Tool to find out how much it was and whether it was worth me getting it, on their website, they said, well, here it is for a yearly subscription to it or a purchase or a lifetime. Or it says you can also get it through SetApp, and that's SETAPP at setapp.com. So out of curiosity, I went to check out what SetApp is. And it turns out that SetApp is a subscription service for Mac apps. Again, sorry, Windows people, this is for Macs only. And what it is starting at $5.99 per month for students and teachers, anybody in the education space, or $8.99 per month if you pay for by the year, if you pay annually. I mean, you can pay monthly $9.99 per month, but if you pay annually, it's $8.99 per month. And what it gives you is access to over 120 apps for Mac OS. And these are full versions of these apps. So if the app has, say, there's an app that you buy and it has some in-app purchases, all those purchases are unlocked. They're the full version of the app. And with this subscription, you get all free updates and upgrades and everything as they're released. Plus, you automatically get access to all new apps as they're added to the package. Now, these are not apps like Adobe Photoshop or Illustrator or that, but these are some very useful apps. Some of them I actually already own and use on a regular basis, and they're all part of this monthly subscription for a low price. Now, some of the apps include Clean My Mac, which is a great app for freeing up disk space and speeding up your Mac. There's iStat Menu, which monitors your Mac health. There's Flume, which I use all the time. That allows you to use Instagram on your Mac. If you are an Instagram user, you know that you can go visit the website, but you can't really upload or post anything. Well, with Flume, you can, and I use it on my Mac all the time to post stuff to Instagram. Then there's Chronicle, which is a program. I actually use this to manage my finances. I put all my credit cards and all my utility bills and that in it. They remind you when bills are coming due, and you can keep track of your expenses. So I can actually go back and see how much I spent on electricity last year, how much I spent on my internet last year, and so forth. So Chronicle, great for that. Mac Gourmet Deluxe, another one. My wife uses that to manage her recipes and to discover new recipes. Gemini is a great app that I don't actually have, but I've seen it advertised many, many times, and I kept wondering about getting it. And what it does is it removes duplicate files from your Mac. So you do a search, and it'll find, okay, this file, you have it 3 times in 3 different folders. So it lets you free up space on your Mac. So those are just some of the apps that are available. Now they have categories. They have a category for maintenance apps. They have a category for lifestyle, for productivity, for task management, apps for developers, apps for creatives like you and I. There's apps for writing and blogging, as well as apps for education and research. So over 120, and from what the website says, they're constantly adding more apps in. So I just want to share this as a great resource, especially if you're a student at $5.99 per month, $6 per month, and you get access to over 120 apps. Right now, I think there are 123. The reason I say over 120 is because it says that they keep adding more and more on. So I've already subscribed to this. I wanted to get, as I said, that Better Touch tool. And there were so many other ones that were good that I figured at this price, it's well worth it. And at any time, if I decide that it's no longer, you can cancel it at any time and not worry about it. So that website, in case you are interested, is setapp.com. That's setapp.com. So check it out and see if there's enough apps on there to make it worth your while. And now, features versus benefits. Marketing your design business. Now, I've mentioned before on the podcast that I like looking at other designers' websites. In fact, anytime that somebody joins the Resourceful Designer Facebook group, which if you're not a member, you can join by visiting resourcefuldesigner.com/group, and make sure you answer my 3 questions. If you don't answer the questions, I will not let you into the group. You have to answer the questions. But every time somebody joins, I try to go, and if they have a link to a website, I try to go check out their website just to see. What I like doing is, first of all, I love looking at other designers' portfolios to see all stages, whether you're a student or an experienced designer. I love looking at portfolios just to see what sort of things are being created, what's being developed, what sort of trends are forming or have been followed, and so forth. But even more than looking at the portfolios, I love looking at these websites in order to study how other designers are promoting themselves. What are they doing to try to drum up business? What are they doing to attract clients through their website? And doing this over the years, I've always done this. I love spending time looking at other designers' websites. And over the years, I've noticed a trend that's shifting. And it's that lately, more and more designers are focusing heavily on promoting the services and the features that they offer. And they're not actually promoting the benefits that they offer to clients. They're so focused on trying to make sure that potential clients, people that visit their website, knows of every single service they offer. And don't get me wrong, listing all your services is a great thing because many clients will be coming to your website looking for a particular service. Maybe they're coming because they need a website done and they see that you do websites, but you also do branding, you do business cards, letterheads, and all that other stuff. Or maybe vice versa. They're coming because they need a logo designed and then they see that you also do websites. So they get to learn about all this other stuff because a lot of times they don't realize that a designer can do more than just that one thing. And this is a real problem in our industry. In fact, it's such a problem that when I started this podcast, episode number 1 was an introduction where I just introduced what this podcast was going to be about. Episode 2 was the first one that actually had a topic. And that episode was, do your clients know what you do? And that's exactly what I covered in that episode. And if you want to go way back to the beginning and listen to it, that's at resourcefuldesigner.com/episode 2. And in that episode, I shared how a lot of clients don't know that you can do different things. I shared a story in that episode about my brother-in-law who I did work for, and then one day contacted me and says, Mark, do you know anybody who does rack cards? And it's like, yeah, well, I've already designed a brochure for you. I've already designed your business card. I've already done your website. What makes you think I don't do rack cards? But it's something that had never come up in conversation. So he didn't know that I did rack cards. And to me, at the time, I thought, well, isn't that like just common sense that if I do this other stuff, I do rack cards? But to him as the client, it didn't. Just like I have a lot of clients that will contact me and say, do you know somebody who does t-shirts? Well, yeah, I do t-shirts. And you do? I didn't realize you did t-shirts. I thought you only did websites or you only did print design. Well, t-shirts is pretty much the same thing as print design. You design something and it's printed on a t-shirt as opposed to paper, but clients don't realize that. So what I'm getting at here is listing your services, what it is you do, is a really good thing. Clients need to see that. But the problem arises when the main content of your promotional material, your website or your brochure or whatever, that main content focuses too heavily on those features and services you offer and not the benefits the clients get from working with you. Now, just recently, I've been looking at a few websites, and that's what actually prompted me to do this topic for the podcast this week. I was looking at some website and I came across a few, some of them that were really good, but some of them that I thought, even though the message was really good, as in they listed all their services, they listed everything they needed to, the way it was presented, in my opinion, was a failure. So here's an example I took from one website that focuses mostly on the features they offer. This is directly on the homepage. Now, I'm not going to tell you what website it is. I don't want to throw this company under the bus or anything like that. Who knows? Maybe it's one of my listeners. So I don't want to pinpoint who they are. But here's the message that was on their homepage. The title was, Why Work With Us? Then it says, whether you need a website, an event poster, or to add graphics to your vehicle, we can create the designs that will direct your potential clients back to you. We create designs for you that are aesthetically pleasing, modern, and relevant with your industry, with a simple and clear message. With creativity and clarity, we develop your branding through custom graphics that you and your customers will appreciate. We offer services in, and then they started listing logo design, business cards, letterheads, and they went on and on with a big long list of all the services they offer, which is great because, as I mentioned, clients need to know what those services are. And this description clearly lists the features that this design company offers. And this is information that clients need to have. But this description doesn't really show the benefits a client gets from choosing this company. Now, here's another website I came across, and this one does focus on the benefits, and I want to see if you notice the difference. So again, it's on their homepage, and I'll remove the name of the company because in the description they actually name themselves. I'm not going to name them, but here is what it says right on their website. We want to work with you. Now, I'm going to stop right there. The first website says, why work with us? So they're asking a question, and the client might think, yeah, why should I work with you? Here, this second one, we want to work with you. Right there, you're not asking a question of the client. You're saying, hey, you're important. We want to work with you. Right there, you've got the client's attention. And then the description carries on. It says, when you partner with, name redacted, to develop or expand your brand, you not only get a team of experienced designers and marketers who have helped hundreds of businesses like yours excel. You get a team of devoted people whose focus is on your success. When you look good, we look good. Now, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to keep going a bit, but I just want you to listen to the wording they used here compared to the first one. The first one, whether you need a website or an event poster or add graphic to your vehicle, we can create the design that will direct your potential clients back to you. That sounds kind of, yeah, it's true. There's nothing wrong with that. But compared to when you partner with us to develop or expand your brand, you not only get a team of experienced designers and marketers who have helped hundreds of businesses just like yours to excel. You get a team of devoted people whose focus is on your success. When you look good, we look good. Right there, the client is reading that, and they're thinking, first of all, when you partner with us to develop or expand your brand, the first one said, we develop your brand through custom graphics, so forth and so forth. This one here, when you partner with us to develop your brand. So right there, you're telling the client that this is a partnership. We're not doing this for you. We're doing this with you. Then it goes on to say, not only do you get a team of experienced designers who have helped other businesses, so now that's kind of social proof. You're telling the client that, we've done this before. We've helped other businesses. Not just we've helped them, but we've helped them to excel. Now, it goes on to say you've got a team of devoted people whose focus is on your success. So now the client's thinking, these people want me to succeed because when you look good, we look good. So now it makes the client feel like they've got a stake in this game. They're not just doing this to get my money and create a design and move on. They actually have a stake in this because they don't look good if I don't look good. Then the description continues. It says, our aim in working with you is to develop a connection and learn everything we can about your business. This partnership will allow us to develop a personalized branding strategy that fits your budget. Boom. There. First line, our aim in working with you is to develop a connection. That's the money shot right there. I've talked so many times on this podcast about building a client relationship. You need to build that relationship in order to create good design. You need to get to know. It says, and learn everything we can about your business. That is telling this client that these people care. They want to develop a connection. They want to learn about the business. They want to know about me. They don't want to just hear what I have to say and develop something or design something. They want to know about the business so that they can develop the best thing possible for the client. And then as I read, it continues, this partnership will allow us to develop a personalized branding strategy that fits your budget. So there, it also tells the client that this isn't some, like the first one, it doesn't say anything about budget or anything like that. So the client might think, wow, like this sounds great. They design all these things. They can do all this stuff. But man, how much is this going to cost me? Where in this case, it says we develop a personalized branding strategy that fits your budget. So right there, the client is intrigued because he might be thinking that I don't have a lot of money, but here they're saying that they can develop a strategy that fits my budget. So whether you're going in there with $500 or $5,000 or $50,000, they're going to develop a strategy that fits that budget. So now you're not alienating the client in any way. They're thinking it's like, wow, this really can help me. It's a benefit because I might not have a lot of money to start off with, but they're going to work with whatever budget I have. And then I'll just finish off this description. It continues. It says, if you are ready to expand your business, then so are we. Click here to set up a call to discuss your business and the services we can offer you. And again, if you are ready to expand your business, then so are we. What is the benefits to the client? It says if the client's contacting or looking for this business or a business because they want to grow, and here's somebody that says, if you're ready to grow, then so are we. We can do this with you. And then click to set up a call to discuss your business and the services we offer. So the first website went on and just said, here are the services we offer after their description and listed everything. This one here is saying, why don't you give us a call and we can discuss our services? Now, elsewhere on this website, they did list. There was another page that lists all their services, but the wording on that page, again, was more geared to what benefits the clients. Like it talked about building a website and how a website would benefit the client. It talked about how designing a logo could benefit the client. So this company that had this write-up did a very good job in using benefits over features. So I hope you see the difference between the two. Now, focusing on features is fine. It does work. Many businesses do it that way. So if you're set up that way where you're listing all the features that you promote, it's not that it's bad. You can still get clients that way. It's just that you might want to expand on it a little bit because people don't only want to know what it is you do. They want to know what you can do for them. So when you focus on the benefits, you are actually reaching the clients on a more personal level. And that makes it much easier for the client to decide to work with you. So how do you go about developing your strategy to create this marketing material? Well, when it comes to this marketing material, your website, your brochure, your advertising, anything else that you're using to try to attract clients, you need to keep that target audience in mind, their behavior. How will they react to the message that you're putting in front of them? Is your message more knowledge-based, meaning it's focusing on the features, or is it emotion-based, focusing on the benefits? And remember, the clients want to know what's in it for them. Why should they choose you? They're looking at lots of different websites, lots of different people. They might even have gotten referrals. And what makes you stand out from everybody else? Everybody does logos. Everybody does business cards. Everybody does brochures. Everybody does websites. So what makes them choose you over any of them? If you can trigger an emotional response from a potential client, you're already most of the way there to winning them over and having them become your client as opposed to becoming somebody else's client. And this subtle shift in how you word things in order to show the benefits over just showing features will make the world of difference in how your business grows and expands. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Just keep it short. It's just that I've seen so many websites lately, especially, where it's more bullet points. Here's everything we do. And yes, that information is important. I don't want people to leave that information off. They just need to word it in a way that shows the benefits, or don't make it the main focus. Talk about the benefits to the clients. Here's how we can help you. Here's what you get from working with us. Oh, and here's the services we offer. Then list the services. So I would love to know if you explain the benefits to your clients in your marketing material. Please leave me a comment for this episode by visiting resourcefuldesigner.com/episode 131. And now, this week's question of the week. And this week's question comes in from Stian from Norway. It says, my main focus is web design and development. So I'll get loads of logins and FTP servers, web clients, web servers. I even make new ones for my clients. And on top of this, there is their contact information for each client. Do you have a tip to organize this, like a software where I can store passwords and usernames safe and other client information? I'm not looking for some sort of billing system. Well, thank you very much for the question, Sian. Now, for this sort of stuff, I actually use, it's an old bit of software. I bought this years ago, and I don't think it's still in development, but it is still working. And that's Domain Brain. Now, again, this is a Mac only. I don't know if you're on Mac or Windows. If you're on Windows, I apologize, but this is a Mac only program. And I know it because I've been using it for years. And as I said, it's called Domain Brain. You can get it at domainbrainapp.com. And what it is you add clients to it, and every client has a listing where you can put in their FTP information, their database information, their content management, such as WordPress or whatever information, their hosting information, the registrar information for their domain names, their mail, if you have any information about their mail servers and all that, you can put all that stuff in. You can put in anything for PHP and SSL, their certificate information and all that if you're securing their websites. And there's also a section where it's just notes, where you can put in whatever information about the client you want. If there's contact information, who you're talking to, everything. And each client has its own database entry, I guess, with all this information. So I've been using this for years. Every single client I have that I have this sort of information, and I guess it's all web clients. So I look at this, and every single web client I have, I can click on it and see every login that I have for them, whether it's email, their WordPress, or if it's not WordPress, whatever database there are. Hosting, if they're not hosted by me, most clients are hosted through me. I supply their hosting. But those who aren't, I have all the information for their hosting company. If I have the domain, I have all the information for the registrar and everything, how the domain is when it expires and all that, the who is information. And if the client owns their domain somewhere else, I have the information for that. So I find this very easy to keep track of things. As I said, I've been using this for years. I don't even remember when I got this, probably over a dozen years ago. And I don't think it's been updated, or I don't know if it's still in development, but it is still available. I have High Sierra installed on my Mac, and Domain Brain works perfectly. So until it stops working, or they no longer update it or anything, maybe they haven't updated it because it hasn't needed updating. But until it no longer works, this is what I'm going to keep using. Now, if this isn't an option for you, the one thing I will mention, though, is in your question, you said something about secure. This is not secure. There's no security on it unless you put domain name under some sort of security. There are things where you can secure folders, and if you put the app in a certain folder, it wouldn't allow you to open it. I don't have that. There's no security built into this thing. So if you are looking for that, I might suggest going with something like 1Password or LastPass. I personally use 1Password, and that's password.com. Or you can go to LastPass, which is lastpass.com. And they're mostly, I use them mostly for passwords, every single website. That way I only have to remember one password, and every website, every login I have is within it. So I can put in some really obscure passwords. It's nothing that you're going to guess, like, the type of password that's 2A, uppercase B, question mark, colon, or left bracket, 67, that sort of password. And you can have those things that you're never going to remember them. And every single login can have a different password. And the only thing I have to remember is 1Password. I have to remember the password to get into 1Password. And I use it mostly for those logins, but it also allows you to add other things. I have all my software licenses in there. I have email accounts. I have logins, passwords, and I have other information I have some client information stored in there because you could put notes and stuff like that. You can do the same thing with LastPass. And this is secure. And what's great about this is with 1Password, it syncs across, I think I'm syncing it via Dropbox. So I can access any one of these passwords on my phone, on my tablet, on my Mac. If I'm somewhere else, like if I'm at a client and I'm on their computer, I can log into 1Password using my credentials and get a hold of whatever information I want. So although I use it mostly for passwords, I know that a lot of the information, you can put secure notes in there. So you can create a note for a certain client and have all their FTP, all their server information and all that within there. It's accessible wherever you are. All you have to remember is that 1Password to get into it, and you never have to worry about anybody stumbling across it or getting it by accident. So those are the suggestions I have. I don't really know of anything else that you can use for that. If if somebody out there knows, then maybe you can leave a comment for this episode. This is, once again, this is resourcefuldesigner.com/episode 131. If you have a great answer for Stian about this, then please reply in the comments there, and we can find out more. As I said, I use Domain Brain for all my website stuff and other stuff that I have, other information for clients and stuff like that. I will put it in 1Pass, but most of my information is used Domain Brain, which again is Mac only. So thank you very much for your questions, Sian. I always appreciate getting these and trying to answer them to the best of my ability. Now, if you would like to leave a question for a future episode of the podcast, please visit resourcefuldesigner.com/feedback and you could submit your question there. Now, I got a great iTunes review, another 5-star review. This one came in from Spicy Tuna in the USA. It's a cute little username. And it's a 5-star, says, love this podcast. This is the only design podcast that I can get into and always look forward to a new episode. I find most of Mark's topics applicable to my own experience, and I like his style and tone. I like Mark's modest and down-to-earth approach, unlike other design podcasts I used to listen to before I discovered The Resourceful Designer. I've reached out to Mark on a few occasions, and he's always been very helpful. Well, thank you very much for that, Spicy Tuna. I love getting these reviews. It just helps solidify that what I'm doing here is making a difference. Now, if you would like to leave a review in iTunes for the podcast, simply visit resourcefuldesigner.com/iTunes. Even though I know they're calling it Apple Podcasts now, the link is still iTunes. Now, before I head out, I just want to thank everybody who is supporting Resourceful Designer via Patreon. If you are enjoying the podcast, if you are getting value out of it, if you like what it is I'm doing, and you want to support the show, for as little as $1 a month, you could become a patron of Resourceful Designer by visiting resourcefuldesigner.com/Patreon. And you can sign up there at whatever level you'd like. So thank you very much to everyone who is supporting Resourceful Designer via Patreon. It means so much to me. So that's it for this episode. Remember this week's resource of the week, setapp.com, where you can get over 120 apps for your Mac for a low monthly fee. So check it out and see if there's some that you might be interested in. Until next time, my name is Mark Decote, wishing you all the best with your graphic design business and reminding you to stay creative.
Thanks for listening to the Resourceful Designer podcast at resourcefuldesigner.com.